Welcome to another episode of TehachaPod with your hosts, Key Budge and Corey Costello. TehachaPod is another way the city of Tehachapi shares information with our community.
Welcome to TehachaPod. I'm Key Budge. Corey Costello is with me today. Corey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for doing this again.
Hey, this is going to be fun because I reached out. I started to talk to some of our former guests and see where they're at. And today we're going to talk to Saida Wolfe. Remember Saida, our conversation with her?
Yeah, back in November, I think it was.
This young lady was so impressive with how creative, smart, articulate. She's going to be a very successful adult in whichever area she goes to. But I wanted to find out, how did Soulstream do? Because it hit the racks.
Yeah. So we made her a star, is what you're saying. TehachaPod made her a star?
Well, I
think that helped.
We can let Saida weigh in on that, I guess. I think she does have some of the talent there.
Yeah. We're just a PR machine here.
That's right.
Obviously the talent comes from other places, but we're just here to help propel the star.
Exactly. Well, I know the audience doesn't want to listen to us. I think they'd like to hear from Saida. So Saida Wolfe, welcome to TehachaPod once again. The last time we talked to you, I think it was in early November. So tell us, how are things going?
Hi. Yeah, thank you for having me on here again. Yeah, so the launch, it went really well. That was on January 13th. And Diamond, the comic distributor that supplies the comics to the local comic shops, they received thousands of orders for Soulstream. So that was very exciting. Our local comic shops that are near Tehachapi, such as Man Bites Dog and Silver Wolf in Bakersfield. And then there was also Basis Cards and Comics and Horizon Comics in Lancaster, and also Comics Factory in Pasadena. They all got pretty big orders of Soulstream. And we also, we drove down there and we dropped off some like extra goodies and stuff to them, such as we dropped off signed postcards and trading cards and all this stuff. And it sounds like they sold a lot of my comics. So I'm really happy about that.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
now,
for sure.
Let's remind the audience, how old are you, Saida?
I'm 17.
And when you started this project, this endeavor to create your own comic book, you were 15 years old?
That is correct, yes.
My goodness.
So what was it like to finally see it on the rack? I mean, we'd had the preview copy and all that stuff, but to see it on the rack at a shop in Pasadena or Lancaster, what was that like, that feeling like to see the orders filled?
Well, it was definitely pretty surreal, especially since on the release date, I had regular high school classes and I was doing homework much of the day. So it was very surreal for sure to be sitting at home just doing homework and other work, and then seeing on social media that my comic was most certainly released. It definitely was in comic book stores. And that was really exciting, but also very strange because I was just sitting at home doing my English class.
This is someone who's gone straight from high school to the big leagues.
Yeah, right.
This isn't something that happens very often, where you get a young, talented artist and someone who's so creative as you are that gets the opportunity or the break that you did. And let's kind of recapture that. How did this all come to fruition? Where did it start for you to all of a sudden become a published author?
Well, I wrote the first issue of my comic and I drew 8 pages of it. And then I submitted it to Scout Comics and they actually accepted it, which was extremely exciting. That was incredibly exciting. And now I am published. And it's so crazy too, because all of issue 1, which is what is out right now, that was all art that I created when I was 15. And so now 2 years later, I'm still working on this comic. And it's really neat too, because as you read through the rest of it, which hasn't come out yet, you can really see my art improves a lot because it's a 2-year time period. So it's very exciting.
What's it like? Because when I reached out to you and said, hey, how's it going? And you started to share some of the details, you also included a couple of responses or critiques. And I thought, and I read those, I'm like, oh my gosh, when you've got someone that's grading your work, what was it like to see that you've got, a response and then to see how positive it was?
It made me really happy to see that people were reading it and that people were enjoying it, because that's really all I want, is for people to find it and then enjoy it. or at least for the people who would enjoy it to be able to find it, I suppose.
I'm looking up scoutcomics.com, which is a spot right now where you can get not only the Soulstream comic book, but also some merchandise. And it's pretty cool. So you had talked about the web store exclusive cover. So that's on there now. You can get the different edition with the special cover. And also, I mean, everything from there's beach towels with the Soulstream art on them to skateboard deck stickers. I mean, this is pretty cool. I mean, they're not only marketing your comic book, but they're also sort of making this Soulstream name, something that they're able to, to market in a few other areas too.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for everything that Scout Comics has done during this entire process, because they've just been so amazing every step of the way throughout all of this.
What's it like to be, I mean, obviously we talked about your, being 17 and how that, you started at a young age, and Key brought up a little bit with the sort of reviews, but being an artist, being a writer, there's criticism involved in that too, right? So how do you, accept that? Because not everybody's going to love it. Not everybody's going to say this is the greatest thing ever. So do you have a way to kind of accept that constructive criticism and move on? Because I know that's something that it takes artists a long time sometimes to cope with.
I definitely know that not everybody is going to love it. But I think when I think about the people who do love it, it makes me feel a lot better, especially. And especially since I've even already gotten a few pieces of fan art from people on the internet.
Nice.
That makes me really happy. But I'm just really thankful that there are people who are enjoying it, mostly.
It's awesome.
You also have involved your best friend, Cora. And what did Cora do? Because you mentioned this here in your response to when I asked how things were going, and you mentioned her by name. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, she made the special variant cover for the comic, which I am so incredibly thankful for.
Yeah, it's pretty cool
It is so
looking.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Every time I look at it, I feel so happy because it is so beautiful. But yeah, she's been so incredibly supportive through all of this. I'm really happy to be her friend. And she's so talented with all her art. Yeah, she's really amazing.
So what's next? What's coming up? Where are we going from here? You're in the comic book stores. It's being well received. What's the next part of this project and journey?
Well, I'm still working on finishing the book, and I have 9 pages left as of now, which hopefully will be less by the end of the week. But once I'm finished with the book, the trade paperback, which has issues 1 through 5, will be released sometime toward the end of the summer or the beginning of the fall, sometime around then. And that'll be the rest of the story, which will be coming out.
How can people get a hold of that? Is that available for pre-order?
Yeah, actually, you can go on Amazon and actually pre-order it right now. And I think a few other sites as well have it.
Just search Soulstream?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. You can pre-order it off there. I think Barnes & Noble might have it too. It is available on the internet for pre-order.
And this is going to be distributed not only through Diamond, but also Simon & Schuster, which anybody who knows anything about books, I mean, Simon & Schuster is a gigantic distribution publisher. This is no small deal, right? This is Simon & Schuster is the real deal. So that's super impressive to see those names thrown out there too.
Yeah, I'm really excited that Simon & Schuster is going to be helping distribute it because, I want the book to be in as many hands of people who will like it as possible. Yeah, I want people to be able to read it.
Well, let's be honest too, though. I mean, we talked about the criticism part. It can end up in the hands of people that don't like it either. As long as they pay you, you know what? It's all good, right? It doesn't matter as long as you make the sale. Hopefully, they like it. But if not, well, better luck next time. But the important part is you produce a product that was consumed by somebody. So that's don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Now, if people want to follow this journey, have you created a Facebook page for this this character, this Soulstream project?
Yeah, so there's a Facebook page for Soulstream. I have some other social media accounts too. There's an Instagram page for Soulstream, and then there's another Instagram page which is just all the art that I draw that's not related to Soulstream, but there's Soulstream stuff on there too. And then there's Twitter pages as well that I have.
Do you want to share any of those handles so people can follow
along?
Yeah,
so on Instagram and Twitter, there's @Soulstream Comic, and then there's @Saida Wolfe. as well. And on Facebook, I think the page is just called Soulstream Comic. So if you search that, it'll come up.
Well, I'm excited for you. I mean, this was great when we were talking to you in November about the launch and it hitting the racks, and you were having to reach out to the stores and let them know that you were here and that your new comic was about to be available. What was it when you were having the conversations with the owners of these comic book stores? What was their feedback like? What was that like for you to go in and talk to these people that are, they're selling these things right on the, on the street, and people are coming in and interacting? What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was pretty great. It was really neat to be able to talk to the people who will be selling the book, especially since many of them were very supportive and have been really great as far as all the launch stuff goes.
Did they like the fact that you were so local?
Yeah. Well, I know several of the shops, they've actually told me that a lot of people who come into the shops, they specifically buy it. They'll buy a copy of Soulstream after they find out that I'm a local artist, because people want to support local artists, which I think is pretty great.
It is very great.
It's awesome.
We just wanted to do a quick recap here and catch up with you, Saida. So we're excited. We're proud of you, and we offer you all the congratulations in the world, because what you've done is monumental for, Corey and I, as we look at this event, and we know how much work has to be put into it, but to be acknowledged at the level that you have is something else.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, keep it up. We'll be in touch, and don't forget us little people when you're a gigantic star.
That's right. You're now a repeat guest on TehachaPod.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, there's very few.
I like the way she accepted that honor. It was very well done.
Yes, this is a very great honor. Thank you so much.
It's all that we have to offer you.
Right, exactly. Except our support and our podcast.
So, folks, make sure you follow Saida Wolfe and also Soulstream, social medias, and also her book will be coming out with the full 5 issues. Yeah. And you can pre-order that. Look on Amazon, and you can either...
And hit up scoutcomics.com, too, for the book. And the
merchandise, right?
The merchandise, and also the comic book itself. And there's some pretty cool merchandise on there, too. They throw Soulstream logos on. It's awesome.
And if you haven't seen it, we know that locally, let's run over those shops again. Saida, if you don't mind, can you break down those stores that we know that it's in the rack locally, either in Bakersfield or the Antelope Valley or Pasadena?
Yeah. Well, I don't know for sure if a lot of these shops are running pretty low on their supply of these, though.
So we want them to rush out and get it now.
That's right.
But yeah, some of the shops are Man Bites Dog, and then there's Silver Wolf, and those are both in Bakersfield. And then there's Basis Cards and Comics, and then there's Horizon Comics, and those are in Lancaster. And then in Pasadena, there's Comics Factory. So those are some of the local comic shops
that are
around.
Supporting a local artist and author. So we want to make sure we give them a little shout out for that support. Saida, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I don't know, Corey, Saida is at another level she's just so articulate, but her creativity and what she's doing is it's far. And I know we've said this in the last show. I was nowhere near ready to share anything with the world, at the age of 15, 16, or 17.
Right. Yeah. And it's a good testament to what she'd kind of set out to do. And she drew a comic book and she submitted it to a small distributor in Scout Comics, and Scout said, great. And that's now sort of parlayed it into not only a Scout doing a great job distributing her book, but it's opened up other opportunities to write the entire series, which again, folks like Scout and Simon & Schuster are now on board to distribute. And that's big time. And so that just is how that, that journey starts. And so it's really cool to see her kind of see it through. And again, there's more projects still in the works, and we've not heard the last of Saida and her talent. That's for sure.
Agreed. Hey, we've got some other things to talk about here in Tehachapi, and at the recent council meeting, the farmers market was presented. So let's talk about that. And
yeah, that's that's kind of something in the sort of economic development world. Main Street Tehachapi, it's been around since 1999. They were sort of the redevelopment agency when we had redevelopment, which was responsible for downtown looking as great as it does now. There was, Main Street was sort of the organization that was in charge of that funding with the city, and they oversaw it in a lot of the projects. And so, that went away when Governor Brown got rid of redevelopment agencies. But Main Street stuck around as a nonprofit to help benefit downtown businesses. And, their membership had been dwindling over the years, and COVID really had a big impact on them and their involvement and what they could do and couldn't do, and getting board members active. So they decided recently, with the really small board that they had left, to dissolve as an organization, which is unfortunate, but it was one of those things where, they came, they did the work it's visible, it's tangible. And so, it's kind of run its course. But as part of that, they had some pretty important events that were really ingrained in the community. Those being, they had a couple wine walks, one in December or November right after Thanksgiving, and then in Valentine's Day. And they also had the farmers market, which, was a popular event in normal years. This past year, being it kind of with a COVID restriction, it was still something that gave people something to do. We had to change the market a little bit, or they did. And so with that came the opportunity. They're going to be putting, the rest of their events out there. But the city of Tehachapi had already been pretty involved in the farmers market, utilizing our public works staff for road closures and on Green Street, our police department, obviously, for security and things like that. So it was a pretty natural transition. They offered to hand the farmers market back over to the city, who started it many years ago. Actually, it was started as a city event, and then Main Street took it over. So the city's taking, the council voted to take the farmers market back from Main Street. And so all the market management will now go through City Hall. And we're looking forward to, the plans are already together. We're already hitting the ground running. I mean, redesigning the farmers market logo and getting things squared away with the Farm Bureau and that sort of stuff. So to make sure we're a certified farmers market. So all that stuff's already started, and the city's going to be the one running it. We've pushed the dates a little bit and massaged it a little. Last year, the farmers market went a long time because of the COVID situation, and just we wanted to give our local farmers, the apple folks especially, a chance to get their crops out here, because those don't come in until later in the summer/early fall. So it went in October last year, which was a record. And so what we're looking to do this year is launch it a little bit later, launch it at about June 3rd. I think that's the first Thursday in June. And then it will go till September 30th, which would be the last Thursday in September. So we think that'll, just looking at it, May was always kind of a thin month when it came to produce, because a lot of the spring crops hadn't quite come in. And so this will give an opportunity to give those growers a little more time. And then we'll extend the market past, or basically into the month of September.
That's 4 months.
Yeah.
June, July, August, September. So that's a good opportunity to get healthy produce. Make sure we include all of our local growers here from Tehachapi.
Yeah, we're really targeting too. I mean, we can't. We're thinking right now, the way it looks, just with COVID restrictions. Last year the health department regulations said you had to be a certified farmers market, and only your certified farmers could be there. You couldn't necessarily, or an essential household item like Alligator Rose was selling soap, and so that sort of counts. A lot of the stuff that was there before that wasn't necessarily a food item.
Crafts.
Yeah, craft stuff, art. It wasn't allowed last year. Neither were on-street food vendors. So people that used to do kettle corn and tacos and that kind of stuff, that wasn't allowed last year. We don't think that's going to be allowed anytime soon. We're sort of planning to continue with what was done last year. But with that is the opportunity to still expand a little bit. We have a lot of local farms here that may not have a lot of crops come June or July, but they're sourcing their own beef. They're sourcing their own pork. They have something to sell. They have organic stuff to sell. And so that's, we're going to reach out to them and try to get some of those local folks in the greater Tehachapi area, along with, friends in Bakersfield and the Central Valley that have been coming up and doing stuff for years, continue with them, but really kind of focus on some of those family farms we have around here that are doing a bunch of different items these days.
So if we have any of those farmers that are interested in participating this year, Mariana Gutierrez is going to be the market manager.
Yeah.
And she works here at City Hall. You can reach her at 661-822-2200, extension 102. And Mariana will be happy to answer your questions and get you applications. And
we should have those applications ready here shortly. Like I said, kind of go through a few things right now with the Kern County Farm Bureau and the Kern County Health Department. But excited to work with both of them. And I think, Mariana's already excited to get things rolling. And it's going to be a good market. I think we'll be able to keep it going from what it was last year. And hopefully by the end of the summer, maybe we'll be able to get back to the live music and the stuff that made it an event. But that's all sort of dependent on COVID regulations.
Also want to remind folks that last year in 2020, the city of Tehachapi Valley Recreation and Parks District and Houchin Community Blood Bank partnered 17 times on blood drives.
That's awesome.
In past years, we'd done one event with Houchin, one blood drive, and there was a lot of other community churches and things like that held it. But because of the COVID restrictions, they had to start canceling out. They couldn't provide the facilities that were needed, so we worked this collaboration together between these three organizations, and we ended up holding 17 blood drives. 594 units of blood was collected.
And they weren't always well attended. That's the crazy part. You would think with 17 blood drives, it would always, this one didn't have many people because we just had one like 4 weeks ago. That was never the case. They were always booked with donors.
Right. We set up almost every 2 weeks to go. And then so that way you could be on a regular pattern. So as soon as you were eligible 8 weeks later, there would be another drive.
You didn't have to drive to Bakersfield to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that in mind, you think about 594 units of blood. 1 unit of blood can help save 3 lives. Yeah. That's potentially almost 1,800 lives that could have been impacted by that. And all of the blood that's donated through Houchin Community Blood Bank stays in Kern County.
Awesome.
So that was something that we're very proud of. And we've started it again here in 2021 because the need continues. Our first one in January was snowed out. They couldn't get the bus up because the freeway was closed. Yeah. So our next one will be in February, and then we'll be holding them every 2 to 4 weeks. So we want you to stay tuned to our social media as we talk about it, and also the Houchin Community Blood Bank calendar of mobile events, and the Tehachapi area will be listed, on a frequent basis.
Yeah, and speaking of TVRPD, the council also authorized, the city gets sort of some per capita funding from the state every few years for parks and recreation facilities. TVRPD receives some of that money as well, the Parks District. The city does have some own facilities, Warrior Park, Railroad Park, Pioneer Park, a few parks that we have, neighborhood parks. And so that money sometimes goes to those, but there was an opportunity for collaboration this year with the skate park at West Park was wood, and it was falling apart and rotting, and so the ramps and the half pipes and all that stuff were taken out. So right now it's just a big concrete pad, and so effectively there's no skate park. And so the city council authorized the city to turn over roughly $180,000 we're getting from the state over to TVRPD. They're going to take their same per capita funding of $180,000 and combine the two, for $360 and change to design and build a skate park on that existing pad they have. So we already got emails from the design committee thanking the city for making that donation essentially, and they're already off and running trying to purchase and design something that's going to be, I think, either composite or metal. It's got like a 20-year life and that kind of stuff. So it'll be hopefully a new skate park in the coming months will be greatly appreciated, because I'm tired of chasing skateboarders off the steps of City Hall. I'll be honest with you. They've been really nice about it, but I feel bad for them because they just want to skate and the skate park's closed.
Well, if this was 15 years ago, my son would have been one of those that was being chased off, because he was into the skating scene here locally, and I was constantly taking him there to Ollie Mountain. Yeah. And it was sad to see.
I'm the cool guy, though. When the kids are doing it, I'm like, all right, one more time, go. All right, now you got to leave.
Did you land it?
Right. I'm like, oh, I got to end on a good one. Like, do it one more time,
all right. All right, come on, give me that tray flip. Okay, good. All right, let's go.
Right, exactly.
You got your Instagram moment. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's what they always say, like, the skate park's closed, or, it's actually open. You can go there and kind of skate on the pad, but there's nothing. Right. There's no rails or stairs or anything. So hopefully, I know there's a committee that's already working on it. And with the funding now in place, I think that's a good chunk of money to build a new skate park. So excited about that.
And I think what that says is that City Hall does listen. Mm-hmm. And when that closed, there was a large group of teens that were like, hey, what about us? Yeah. And that didn't fall on deaf ears. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, I hope that there's a takeaway to say, hey, that the needs of the youth are listened to, and this was something that had some thought put into it, and we're super happy to be able to partner with TVRPD. Yeah, for sure. No, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see what the design committee comes up with and get that thing rolling over there at West Park. It'd be a cool addition. So, hey, now Corey, something that you brought up a couple of shows ago was start having questions. Let's answer some questions. Sure. So I went to our website and I looked at our FAQs, the frequently asked questions, and I pulled a couple.
Okay.
Just to kind of get it started as we're waiting for these emails with these questions to come in. And we want those emails to come into media@TehachapiCityHall.com. One of the most frequently asked questions are, what are our hours here at City Hall?
Oh, okay. Like the hours, the doors are actually open, and the hours that like we work, because that can go any.
The hours the public can come in.
The public doors are open. Okay, because if not, it would be 24 hours a day pretty much. But so Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We have a 4:10 schedule here at City Hall. Some cities have what they call a 580 schedule. They're closed every other Friday, but we're closed on Fridays. But we're here. That design is mostly because with the commuting public, we're open that early hour. So as you're on your way to work, you can get that, have a payment question, whatever that might be, get that handled before you have to go and commute. And the same after work, a little after 5. And so we can kind of capture that commuting traffic. So 7 a.m. to 5:30, Monday through Thursday.
And then another one, is there a DMV in Tehachapi?
There are DMV-related services in Tehachapi. There is currently not a DMV in Tehachapi. We have a couple outside of I want to say there's 2 in the Old Town area that are registration services, tags, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, one is Old Town Auto Registration on Valley Boulevard over there by Carlos's Donuts.
Yes.
And they're Monday through Friday from 10 to 5, and they handle all kinds of registration type of things. But you can give them a call, and they'll answer your questions.
I believe there's a kiosk inside of Albertsons. We'd actually talked to the DMV about a kiosk at City Hall, and they said, we have one in Albertsons. So again, you take your renewal form, you scan it, you can actually pay. And that's obviously for simple things like registration renewals and that kind of stuff. So they have that. But and those are the closest services we have in terms of DMV.
Because otherwise you're either going to Arvin or Ridgecrest, Lancaster, or Bakersfield.
Correct.
And if you want to set up your appointment through DMV and you need to have further services, you can call DMV through their 800 number at 777-0133, or you can go online at dmv.ca.gov, and you can set up an appointment.
I actually got my driver's license at City Hall, though, many years ago. The DMV used to have a 1-day-a-week DMV in Tehachapi. They'd bring all their stuff up here. And what is now our finance department at City Hall proper used to be the city council chambers. And so it was only being used, obviously, once every few weeks. And so the DMV would go in there on one Wednesday a month, or one or twice a month, or maybe every Wednesday. But anyway, they'd set up DMV shop, and so you go in there for driving tests and this and that. So, so I actually got my driver's license at what is now our finance department when they had a little portable DMV set up there, because I wanted to take the driving test on familiar streets. So there you go. I did. I failed the permit test half a year before that when I was 15, but I nailed the driver test after I got the permit squared away.
I figured you passed since I see you drive into work every day.
Yeah. The driving test was no problem. It was that not studying for the written portion when I was 15, thinking I'd get my permit on a whim. It didn't quite happen. But
well, folks, if you've got a question for us, something you'd like City Hall to answer, or help you with a topic, some kind of idea that you've got, shoot us that email, media@TehachapiCityHall.com. And we'd love to hear from you and get the information back that you want to hear.
Yeah, or even give us one of those, because I always get a lot of questions that start with the term, I heard that blank. And and those are, I honestly don't have a problem answering them, because sometimes, you heard correctly, and a lot of times you didn't. And so it's kind of, it's kind of fun to actually have the conversation, and then sort of set the record straight. So even give us those, I heard that, blank questions, and happy to chat about them.
Exactly. Media@TehachapiCityHall.com. Corey, I know we've got some other shows that are coming up. We're gonna check in again with the Adventist Tehachapi Valley folks and talk about the vaccination distribution, how that's going. Hopefully answer some questions that people are generating regarding that. And Josh Pierce is going to come back on with some of his staff. So that's coming up in the next couple of days that we'll have posted. So, and we'll also be checking in on New Walt.
Nice.
You remember New Walt was our movie that was being made here in Tehachapi?
Yeah.
They're coming back.
Awesome. Did he find this? I've been Paul's via Instagram. I've been trying to help Paul find a final scene that he's in Tehachapi, and COVID is ruining it though. So hopefully he found a spot.
He's scouting locations.
Okay.
And he's going to join us for a conversation to tell us where they're at, whether or not options are being picked up, how the project looks.
He even sent me a storyboard and said, I need this shot. And I knew exactly where to go, but COVID essentially has the inability to let somebody rent it and use it. And so I was kind of bummed for him, but we'll figure it out.
So those are a couple of the things we'll be talking about here in the future. Make sure you subscribe to TehachaPod. We appreciate your time, but hopefully we answer some questions and give you information you wouldn't normally hear. And it's all right here, and it's coming from City Hall here in Tehachapi. And we thank you for your time, and we'll catch you on a future episode of TehachaPod.
TehachaPod is a conversation about Tehachapi designed for the people who live here or who would like to know more about this mountaintop community. If you have a question you would like answered, email media@tehachapicityhall.com. We will try to answer it on a future episode of TehachaPod.